Hello all sentient beings and welcome to the Transmissions Podcast, where we talk all Hasbro, Takara, and third-party Transformers! On this episode of Transmissions, there is more Unicron news. Some exciting things are happening with Toys R Us Canada, and we look at in-hand images of Masterpiece Optimus Prime version 3. Today is Wednesday, September 4th, 2019, and this is episode 345 of Transmissions.
Welcome to Transmissions, the podcast that's preparing for a hurricane of back-to-school pictures. I'm your host Charles, aka Big C, and I'm joined by the excellent Transmissions team. Yusuf, better known as Yoshi.
Yo!
Jeremy, aka Yakko.
Hey, how you doing?
And Daryl, the Cybertronian Beast.
Hey, how's it going? Let's talk Transformers.
All right. Again, thanks everyone for coming and listening to us for another week of Transformers fun. As always, we start off by thanking our Donatreons, those lovely people who give us money on Patreon and PayPal. You guys are awesome. You keep the show going. Thank you for your support. And if you're not supporting us and would like to join those ranks, just go to transmissionspodcast.com/support. And that's how you can get that. Also, if you don't want to become a Donatreon, you can still support us by buying some merchandise from our TeePublic store. That's at transmissionspodcast.com/shop. And you can get lots of our custom Transmissions shirts, or you can get some any TeePublic themed shirt through our link. Will give us a nice little bonus. You can also visit our friend of the show, K-Girl, a graphic artist, designer who has her own store at teepublic.com/user/superstark. And she also has a lot of awesome designs, and she's done a lot of artwork for us. So we are very happy to support her as well. Before we get started with the show, with the toy show, we do want to again remind you of our Transmissions 6th anniversary contest. Just go to transmissionspodcast.com/6 years, the number 6, or is it 6 year or 6 years? I can't remember.
I think it would be 6th year or 6 years.
The number 6 and then years plural, because that's how it works in grammar.
It could be 6 year. The 6th year.
You're going to make me make a new URL.
6th year.
Edit this part out, Mike.
Click the link in the show notes.
Transmissionspodcast.com/6 years. That's right. That is correct. So you go to that link. It gives you a survey form to fill out. You tell us one of your favorite moments from the Transmissions podcast over the last 6 years. That will be your entry into our contest, and we will select all the winners randomly from all the entries received by October 27th, 2019. And that's the end of TFCon weekend, TFCon DC weekend. Grand prize winner will receive Respect the Prime, the Decepticon Purple Vinyl LP, and Respect the Prime Constructed Cold EP CD, and a Transmissions t-shirt of their choosing, made to order in their size and design. And several runners-up will receive just the Respect the Prime Constructed Cold EP CD. Those CDs and the vinyl LP are all courtesy of Distortion Productions and good friend of the show, Jimmers.
The vinyl is courtesy Jeremy.
Fair enough. Thank you, Jeremy, for donating that.
I am a donator.
Let's talk about some transforming toys.
And we're going to do what we've been doing every week for the last little while and start the toy section off with Haslab Unicron Watch. This week we saw a jump in numbers, Jeremy. I don't know if this... Did we suspect this? I don't remember.
I think we predicted something like this.
We did. We didn't. it wasn't all our doing. We just kind of read a story that Jeremy found. The number of backers exploded this past week. Why? Because it was supposed to be the last week. And all the numbers were supposed to come in, and everyone was supposed to back it, and this was going to be it. We needed 8,000 backers. Where are we? As of right now, it is September the 1st at 10:52 p.m. We have 5,635 backers. We are short. So what did they do? They extended it, as all good crowdfunding campaigns do.
Well, Cookie Monster didn't get extended.
No. I said good crowdfunding campaigns.
Okay.
They just get extended. So they extended it to, what was it, October the 6th, which is the last day of New York Comic Con.
Yep.
So now we have the crowdfunding ending in 35 days, 1 hour, and 16 minutes. They extended it and double the original period of the crowdfund. So
we said at the very beginning that the amount of time that they had set up was incredibly short.
Way too short. Yeah.
I get paid monthly, so even if I was going to do it, it's incredibly hard to budget a $575 thing, when you have all bills and everything else regularly, and then suddenly you're like, oh, I want to splurge on this giant piece of plastic.
And I only have 1 month notice.
Yeah, that's just not something that a lot of people can do.
No.
So this is a much more reasonable time frame to make plans and stuff and sell your entire collection so you can afford this one thing.
Right. And you make a good point about that. Now, go ahead.
It's not like they're using another service like Kickstarter. They're doing their own crowdfunding. So the time they set is completely arbitrary. So there's no reason for them to adhere to a strict deadline of, they started, I guess it was a month and a half, and now they've pushed it out to almost 3 months, 2.5 months, I guess.
Mm-hmm. What are our theories on this? Is this Hasbro basically saying, look, this is getting made, so here's some more time? Is that what we're kind of coming to the conclusion of here?
In your interview with John Warden, which is a great thing everyone needs to watch or listen to.
Of course, it's the quintessential John Warden interview. It's the best thing that exists.
Didn't he say they've been working on this for
2 years? 2 years, yeah.
So they've put a lot of work and a lot of money into this already.
They have, yeah. But in the panel, the question was asked, what happens if it doesn't get funded? He said, and his answer to that was, well, it just goes away. It goes back into the vault of projects that haven't been, produced. I think that they are not going to allow that to happen here.
Do you want to step into the conspiracy corner with me?
Oh, yes. Let's.
We speculated last week about vendors that were taking pre-orders themselves and wanted to put in big orders. I'm thinking some of those vendors were the ones that were like, hey, you need to extend this. We aren't going to be able to make the numbers that we predicted we would be able to make. Mm-hmm. That was probably why, because they were they really want to get this made, obviously.
Yeah.
My conspiracy theory is that it's the vendors that were pushing on it, even though from day one, fans are like, a month and a half is not enough time for us to get our finances in order, mortgage our house and stuff so we can afford this thing. So, the vendors are really who has their ear.
Mm-hmm. And you touched on it a little bit earlier, and I think you were kind of joking, but the one thing that I have been noticing as I do kind of volunteer kind of work, for toys at the comic book store once a week, I've noticed every single week that this crowdfunding project has been going on, the store has been buying insane amounts of Transformer collections off of people. So figures that would come in once a year, maybe, are coming in weekly now. People are, mortgaging their collections. It just seems odd for this to all happen all in the same small span of time.
Yeah.
Collectors are getting rid of their collections, or at least focusing them down to afford this thing. So in a way, I'm happy to see it. I want this thing to happen because if I can't buy one, I want somebody to have one, especially want somebody to have one near me so I can see it. So, I can go check it out. I do. I want this thing to exist. So yeah. I'm happy for the extension, really.
I was thinking like a couple weeks ago, what would happen if you sold like half of your collection and then it didn't get funded? You're sitting here with half of your collection gone and nothing to show for it.
Mm-hmm.
Hasbro does not want to have fans coming to them like that, just being all angry.
Sure. I
think they're trying to do everything they can to get this thing funded.
Yeah. Yoshi, what's your thoughts on the whole process here?
My little bubble of toys revolves around me and me only. We're talking about an action figure that costs as much as a fucking house payment or a car payment. And it's not faction exclusive. So I am so primed for the knockoffs, for the third parties, for the I guess the KOs and the third parties to see what they do, because there's as somebody who loves the fact that, hey, this action figure came from Hasbro, all my stuff is from one company, it's all uniform, it all looks good. This is one thing that the playing field is completely, level for me. Like, I want to see what everybody else is going to do too. I'm not married to this. Hasbro hasn't shown, I don't think, all of its little bells and whistles yet to try and get more people to prepay for this thing. I'm also convinced all the molds and everything have been paid for, and they're trying to pay it off. Like, I think it's all ready to go. Somebody has to flip a switch, and that's the money switch that has to weigh so much before the switch tips. But, I'm uneducated in the realm of toys. That's just my guess, my opinion. But I'm and we've seen some this week, Daryl. But I'm stoked to see what other companies do with this idea.
Mm-hmm. And Charles, do you have anything you want to add on this as the sole person that has funded put a backing in on this?
Well, I mean, I agree with Yoshi that I'm sure that, since they spent 2 years, 18 months to design this, they've spent the money on designing the toy, building the prototypes, and so probably they want to recoup their costs from that in addition to funding the production and everything. So I'm sure that's the whole point of doing the crowdfunding, to ensure that the number of people who will put their money down will justify the cost that they've put into designing and manufacturing it. I think in general, I don't think it requires conspiracy theories to say, well, they saw this week they were at least over halfway there, and they thought, well, if we've gone this far, it's clear that there should be enough interest that we can get all the way up to $8,000 or 8,000 backers. I should say, not $8,000 would not be enough, but 8,000 backers. But like, if you look at Cookie Monster, I think didn't even break 1,000, right? They were looking for 3,000 and they didn't even get to 1,000. So I think with that, they were like, well, we could give it a year, and I don't think we've got enough people who are interested in Cookie Monster to back this. And I think with Unicron, they saw, well, and they actually did add in all the Japanese and Australian retailer, from Takara and the other Hasbro affiliates in the other markets, but they haven't added in the third party resellers yet. So I think they see that there should be enough to get them over the line, and now they want to see if they can get further than what they would have gotten at the last minute if they had kept their original end date.
Well, we do have a little bit more information that came out this week. A couple accessories that are coming with Unicron that hadn't been revealed before. First, Unicron's going to have an interchangeable beard. Awesome. So he's going from the solid chin that you've got there to kind of like a what is it, Fu Manchu? Is that what they're giving him, or what they're calling it? The kind of double pointed chin that he's being offered.
I think that's a Van Dyke.
A Van Dyke? All right, sure.
I don't know.
He's got two chins. He's got an ability to change out his chin. So that's kind of fun, kind of different. But he also is coming with a Galvatron figure. Now, before you get too excited, this is a very small Galvatron figure, and it is coming in at 3 3/4 centimeters or 1.5 inches tall. It's tiny. The model is based off of the Titan's Return model. It does not transform. It doesn't appear to have any articulation whatsoever. It just is there to be held by Unicron in his hands or kind of stand on him. It may not even stand on him, really. It's looked kind of awkwardly. The legs are in a weird position. But it's just for looks, really. But it's free. It comes with it, so it's a nice little piece to add to it. I fully expect that the kind of some kind of company like a Dr. Wu or Shapeways is going to explode with stuff for it. There'll be a lot of people or companies that'll put stuff out to kind of add to Unicron once it's funded and out.
I do have to say that little mini Galvatron thing looks horrendous. I really hope that is not the final design or the final paint apps for it. It really looks like an afterthought, like they were in the middle of the crowdfunding campaign and said, what can we add to this figure as an accessory? Oh, let's do a mini Galvatron. Let me quickly whip one up and we'll 3D print it or do a quick mold and then, slap some paint on it. But it really looks bad.
They should have come up with a Legends Galvatron.
Yeah.
Isn't it sad that what looks like the most beautifully detailed and largest Transformer we've ever gotten, at first we were all like, okay, this thing is pretty awesome. And now it's the fucking little details that are pissing us off, these little extras that they're trying to add. It's sad that something that Charles is probably right, they spent all of 10 minutes to whip up, just cheapens this entire monstrosity of a toy.
Well, I mean, it's fine. I mean, I backed it before we got word about this little thing. So, I mean, it's fine. If you give me extra stuff, that's fine. I mean, I was already in for the Unicron figure itself. I think, the way I know, everyone's talked about some of the kibble issues and everything, but the design of the Unicron figure itself, I think, is great. I mean, it's I backed it, so I put my money where my mouth is. But, this is not an enticement for me. This little Galvatron figure is definitely not an enticement. It doesn't.
Will you do me a favor, Charles? When you get this thing, will you set up a time lapse camera sometime when you're not going to be distracted, and let's just go through the 12 days it takes you to put this thing together and transform it.
All right, I'll see what I can do. Yeah,
Cool.
I've got a modern phone. I think I can do that. I just need to set it up on a tripod.
I'm going to continue on with the my Unicron topic, but it's not Haslab. This is something that I think Yoshi's been looking forward to, and I definitely got a little excited myself when the news broke. This is from the company Zeta Toys, and we saw stuff from them kind of leak out earlier on, a couple weeks ago maybe. They showed off, I think, a hand and then the head of Unicron, but now they've thrown out a picture of the entire figure in silhouette. Of course, nothing's really finalized. They're just kind of teasing everyone, but it's the full figure from the front, the full figure from the back, and the full figure transformed into planet mode. Now, like I said, some of the pictures are in silhouette, so the people that posted them, this is off of the Dime Chalk Facebook page, so thanks again to Dime Chalk for putting this stuff up. They've gone ahead and lightened up the pictures a bit, so you can see a lot more of the details that would have been in the darker areas of the picture. It does help, but I want to direct your attention to the back of the figure when you're looking at them. There's a serious lack of kibble here.
Are you sure that's the back? Sure does look like the front.
Well,
that's just my criticism of the thing.
It does actually kind of look like the front, doesn't it?
It looks exactly like the front, which is why.
That's weird. But the legs
Unless it's just the head turned around.
The legs are different. The legs are, that's
Yeah.
definitely the back of the legs.
Yeah,
But
but
that
everything
is
from the
interesting.
waist
Yeah.
to the shoulders.
Interesting. Oh. So, I mean, the arms are turned around, the legs are turned around, but the chest, the waist, and the crotch are identical on the front and the back. That's
So
weird.
I mean, unless they swiveled around the like at the elbows and the waist for the legs, but I don't know. It just I don't see how they would do that or why they would do that.
That's different. Well, I mean, it is prototype, likely. I don't know. You just ruined this for me, Jeremy. Thank you.
You're welcome.
But I'm going to throw it over to Yoshi to kind of break this down for me. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to give you some details that Zeta Toys released on this. Okay, so we know that the Haslab Unicron is 27 inches tall, so it will be the biggest Transformer ever created. This Zeta Toys one is going to be, they've released 48 centimeters tall or 19 inches, so significantly shorter. It will include die-cast parts and have LEDs. They say nothing detaches during transformation. It's expected for release in December of this year, and they have no price information available at this time. So, Yoshi, looking at this, what's your take?
Like I said, this is like a level playing field for me and everybody. Like, right now, somebody's getting my money for a fucking Unicron. I mean, it's just happening. Is it going to be the DX9 one that's the size of a golf ball, or is it going to be this guy? Like, I don't know. I'm also, DX9 has not announced a golf ball yet. I'm just throwing that out there. But, like, let's assume that, like, his chest and his back, Daryl, are actually part of the sphere. Okay. And if Jeremy's right, like, okay, they replicated the front and the back, so it looks the same. So if that's part of the sphere itself, and I can kind of see it on the edges, they're going to have a lot of repeating sphere pieces in this whole thing. You're going to see duplicates as you rotate around it. Mm-hmm. Whereas what looks like on the Hasbro one, each aspect of the sphere is its own separate piece of plastic. So that sphere could possibly be molded in such a way that not 1-2 parts of the sphere look the same. Where this one, if the front and the back are parts of the sphere, we're going to have a bunch of parts that look the same around the sphere.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I can confirm something like that for you right now. I'm looking at the sphere from the back, right? Mm-hmm. And if you look, you see basically it's the center of the picture right now. You're going to see two pieces that are got circles in them, separated by a rectangular piece. Mm-hmm. Then there's to its left, there's another rectangular piece with larger chunks with kind of, nipples on them, right? Mm-hmm. On this furthest and more to the left of that, you got another piece that's kind of identical to those first pieces. Mm-hmm. Those are the waists. That's the waist of the figure. Oh. If you go back to the actual waist,
if you look at the lighted back picture of the sphere, mm-hmm. like the top half is a mirror of the bottom half, and vice versa.
Right.
Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm saying that if we're looking at the back of the sphere, we're basically looking at the underside of the crotch right now.
Oh.
Right. So
the taint, if you will.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
And these little like, yeah. So I don't know if you can. I could circle it if I could produce this on a board or something like that. But basically, we're looking at the front and the back of the like waist area, and
Gotcha.
And I'm thinking these are the legs that kind of fold into the sphere right here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I see it.
So yeah. So that's, I think, they might be identical. The two front halves. You might have a point there that they all just they all fit the same way.
Oh my gosh, look, his mouth actually holds up the whole thing.
Yeah, so it's interchangeable. Yeah. So the planet mode has an interchangeable mouth. It's not open and closed like the Haslab ones. Right. It's just an interchangeable bit.
We fucking CSI this shit, man.
There you go.
Yeah, I can see the mirror on the front side too. Like the top half mirrors the bottom.
Mm-hmm. Jeremy, what do you think?
Well, you would have known a lot more of what I thought if I hadn't been on mute, trying to talk back to you and Yoshi. The front and back thing really does kind of bother me about it. But other than that, seeing how we've now deduced and zoomed and enhanced and figured out that in planet mode they mirrored the top and the bottom. I can see why they did what they did. I hope with better pictures and with paint apps it looks better than just seeing him from behind. You're essentially seeing him from the front,
right?
With just a few things turned around. But I mean, other than those little bits, I think it looks really good. And if it does, not require any parts forming, that's pretty impressive. Because the only real one that we have to compare it to right now is the Armada mold that came out, back in 2000 whatever. That one was a bit parts formy in places, yeah. and I frankly I could never get the wings to stay on in robot mode. Mm-hmm. They just always popped off. But so if they're able to do that, especially with how they have the wings looking, that's really impressive. And I'm interested to see kind of what other features they're going to have and how it looks painted up.
Cool.
Hey, Daryl.
Yo.
Skirt is asking in the chat if we know the specifics or anything else about the lighting effect.
We don't. The only thing that they released is that it's going to have LEDs. I mean, it's a giant robot. You can kind of guess as to where the LEDs are going to be, right? The eyes are going to be somewhere. I would I would guess they'd be. It's tight, but I don't think that they're going to put anything in the wings like they did in the you saw in the cartoon, the movie when they
But you know what? Creative use of fiber optics could make that possible very cheaply.
I guess.
Like
that'd
having
be pretty
fiber
sweet.
optic go in there with like little holes so you can see it light up as the LED turns on.
Yeah.
They do it with Christmas trees.
That's true. Yeah. So I mean, that'd be pretty cool. Other than that, there's really no other spot. This thing still looks a lot like it's in prototype. Mm-hmm. The hands themselves just look like giant bricks, so I don't think they're articulated at all right now. Yeah, I expect we're going to hear a lot more about this in the next coming weeks, especially if it's December of this year's release. They're going to need to get some kind of pre-order system set up in the next little while, which will give us a price, which will be good to know. Charles, I'm assuming you want this really badly. You're a huge Unicron fan now, and you're going to buy them all.
Nah. I mean, I appreciate the fact that this is very much less kibble than the Haslab one. But the planet mode for me doesn't look as nice as the Haslab planet mode, and I like the movable teeth on the Haslab Unicron. I think that's a really cool feature in planet mode. So yeah, it just looks I mean, I'm sure it'll probably look great when it's colored and everything, and more fully designed. But I'm sticking with Haslab, I think.
Okay.
I can't buy all the Unicrons, Daryl. I got to pick one.
I think you can. But that's all I have for this week. I'm definitely going to follow this project and see how it's doing, and we'll let you know as soon as we have more information.
The Unicron beat is heating up.
Yeah, Jeremy, what do you have?
I got some good news for you, Daryl.
Haha, great!
Toys R Us Canada is launching a new website in September and 2 new stores in 2020.
That's it? All right. Well, I mean, I already got 2 stores here in my town, so
well,
I don't really need
it's not in the 2 new stores are not major markets.
Oh, okay.
But this says that they will be larger than the 10,000 square foot toy box concept that they have been working on. I guess we'll have more information on that later, but the new website, maybe there'll be some nice online ordering features that you can take advantage of ordering something with decent shipping.
Yeah.
And then also this notes that the president, Melanie Teed Merch, has resigned effective September 27th to start a new job. So they're also looking for a new president. So get your application in.
Yeah, I could do that.
So there's that. And then we have some news from Hasbro. We don't get very political here, except in the intros that Daryl writes. But this is going to kind of touch some politics, and can't get around it. There is a plan for tariff increases with China. Many things that we buy are manufactured in China. So,
like Q-tips.
Yeah, well, and Transformers. Although I thought they were made in Vietnam. So I'm not sure exactly how this is going to affect Transformers. But this is a story about Hasbro. In the short term, they are passing on the costs from these tariffs directly to the consumers. So that's awesome. But long term,
which is how tariffs work, Donald Trump.
Yeah. So this says that they're talking with their retailers, and they're going to have to pass on the costs to the retailers, which means they're passing it on to the customers.
Wait. The Chinese aren't going to pay the tariffs?
No. Hasbro has to pay the tariffs.
Oh.
For things that they have made in China.
But that's not what I was told.
So, yeah. So anyway, but like I said, I thought Transformers were made in Vietnam.
You were wrong.
So, well, I don't know. So we'll have to see. The tariff is supposed to take effect on December 15th. But it says long term they are planning to redevelop their products with the tariffs in mind. We have seen many redesigns with cost cutting in mind, so that doesn't really give me much optimism. But do your Christmas shopping for Hasbro toys now, I guess, before December 15th.
I'm currently looking at a reissue Bumblebee, and the back of the package says "Made in China."
I mean, we had a story a few weeks ago about how they're transitioning to move more of their production out of China, but they're still currently doing a significant portion in China.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at my Autobot Alpha Strike Counterforce box made in Vietnam.
Yeah, I'm looking at a bunch of different Siege boxes around as well, and they all seem to be in Vietnam.
Yeah, so maybe it won't affect us as much, but I wonder if a lot of the molds for those G1 things are still in China.
I'm assuming it's going to be a lot more of like a line-wide increase.
Right.
They can't just increase one thing.
This isn't fucking StarCraft. It's not like they can just move the manufacturing facility to Taiwan.
Yeah, but I mean, things like the Siege stuff, I think they probably do have all the stuff in Vietnam. Different lines, made in different places, but I'm sure they would spread the pain among all their different brands. And I personally think $19 is still too much for a deluxe in general. So if it goes, $25 or whatever, that's just ridiculous. Of course, Canada, you're probably not going to be affected much at all.
Our stuff goes up anyway. I mean,
yeah,
we get screwed either way.
You have a bad dollar anyway.
We just get screwed. It's part of our Constitution. It's land of the free up here. Gets screwed when the U.S. does. So it's part of our day to day.
But that's all the news I have. Do you have any? You guys have any other comments on this?
They're not suitable for this non-political podcast.
All right. Well, Yoshi, cheer us up. What you got?
Sure. For those of you who are third-party fans, Fans Toys has released some color test shots of their Masterpiece scaled Beachcomber. A beautiful figure, and one that I would be proud to own. Thing looks amazing. I definitely love the roll bar in vehicle mode.
He's a throttle bot.
He's fucking amazing is what he is.
What? Throttlebot.
The joke went right over everyone's heads. Never mind. It did. Roll bar's one of the throttle bots? No? Nobody remembers that?
We were looking at the pictures. Maybe if you were doing your job.
God damn.
That was worth Mike enhancing and making as audible as possible for a ringtone.
Okay, this is an outtake. Go on. back to discussing Beachcomber.
With an amazing roll bar I just think this thing looks amazing. Daryl, you're the toy expert aficionado. Are you as impressed by this as I am?
It looks really good. I would have to say that it definitely appears to have rubber tires, which I know that you dream about.
It is a point of envy for me.
Yeah, you want rubber tires on your?
I do.
Okay.
If my car that I drove every day had rubber tires, it'd be a lot better ride.
Should get that
You're in
checked
the Pacific
out.
Northwest, so you have wooden tires.
You just ride a bear wherever we're going.
Rocks. His tires are rocks. I think it looks really good. The colors are great. You can see that they're really going for that cartoon color palette. So there's a lot less detail into the mold. You're getting maybe one, color app here, like paint app, which is in his little tummy there. Everything else is white and blue. So I think it looks really good. I know that it's being a Fan Toys thing. It's going to be like $70. So that's a lot for a little figure, but it's, it's still Masterpiece scale. So it's really not that small, but it's a mini car. So it's a mini bot. It still seems like a lot to spend on one of these things, but it looks really good. I like it a lot.
He's got at least 3 faces here, Jeremy. And not one of them is upsetting. No matter what face you have on him, when you open him up, he's going to be like, "Thanks for buying me, man."
Yeah, and actually, I see a 4th face.
Do you?
Yeah, if you look at the vehicle mode from the front, all I'm thinking of is Speed Buggy. They could do an orange and yellow remold of this and make a Speed Buggy Transformer. If you remember that Hanna-Barbera cartoon.
I do.
I put a picture in the chat here.
Or what if Scooby-Doo was a car?
Yeah, essentially, it'd follow the same thing. But I think this thing looks great. We had a really good Beachcomber a couple years ago from Hasbro. But if you're looking in the Masterpiece scale, I think this thing looks really good. And I love, like you mentioned, the little cage there on top. That looks good. I love how the transformation looks in robot mode. Yeah, this thing looks great.
All right, Charles, you clearly feel that Rollbar is the superior robot and somehow got cheated by not having a third-party version of him made here. Are you really not going to buy this?
I probably will not buy this. It is a good Beachcomber, though. It's a great Beachcomber. It looks great. The very much adheres to the animation model, so...
It is literally better than any Hasbro Masterpiece Beachcomber.
That's true. But yeah, it looks very nice. Beachcomber, he hasn't done a lot beyond that classic G1 cartoon episode, the Golden Lagoon. That was a good character piece for him. Nice little environmentalist message in that episode. And he's kind of got the laid back hippie voice. So
it was the major influence for Captain Planet, actually.
Really?
No.
It could have been.
Ted Turner saw that and was like, make me a cartoon about the planet.
With blackjack and hookers.
Yeah, Beachcomber is not like my top 10 Transformers, so I think for Beachcomber's fans, they'll be satisfied, and I guess they'll be willing to pay the third-party Fans Toys markup for this guy, but not for me.
All right. Beachcomber hater, what do you got?
Well, I hate everything, so I've got a Masterpiece version 3 Optimus Prime. He's making the rounds. He's coming out. He's finally getting into people's hands, and people are excited about him. We've got lots of pictures, lots of in-hand images of Masterpiece or third version Masterpiece Optimus Prime MP44. We've got some surprises that we did not know about before this toy came out. Less exciting is the collectible pin. That's a thing that Takara likes to do for all their Masterpiece releases. So if that's what you're into, you can check that out. And then the packaging and everything is really nice. as usual for Takara versions. The thing that interested me the most about this is that they've got a voice box in this figure, but they didn't just put Japanese voices into the voice box. So they've got the Japanese voices from the G1 cartoon, but they've also got Peter Cullen in here. And this is a toy that's Takara. This is not Hasbro. This is Takara. This is for the Japanese market. But they've got Peter Cullen's voice. He's got 3 voice clips in this figure, which was a surprise. So I guess that's more of an enticement for people who need the definitive Masterpiece Optimus Prime, who are not happy with MP1 or MP10, and have got an extra $300 to spare for this guy.
But after the Unicron,
yeah. So yeah, I mean, the other thing, I mean, with the voice box, that's nice, but the other thing people are looking at is the just ridiculous transformation sequence you have to do. I mean, this guy, basically, you turn him inside out to transform him, and people are showing the detailed sequence here, and it's very unsettling. There's one picture of his mid transformation where he's just basically a mess of parts. It's very, very weird. But that's what you got to do to get very accurate animation model figure in both robot mode and truck mode. So Yoshi, what do you think of this guy? Is this enough to get you to buy another Masterpiece Optimus Prime?
No.
Okay.
There's something really off-putting about his head sculpt, and I don't really care for the short smokestacks. Those are the 2 things that are sticking out the most. When you were talking about how you had to fold him inside out to transform him, I was looking at that picture. I'm like, he's a Michael Bay movie. Yeah, I don't know if I'm necessarily upset about that. I might not like complexity in my transformations, but if they can do all that to make it look cartoon accurate in both modes, and you don't see a zillion seams everywhere, I'm not too bothered by it. But yeah, there's something really off-putting by his face and the short smokestacks that's I'd never noticed before. And the picture with the bubble wrap, the plastic wrap that he ships in, like, that doesn't look like you can remove that and then ever put him back in the box. Like, that looks like once that seal is broken, he's homeless from his box from then on out. Because I rotate my shit out of my displays, and I can.
It kind of looks like it's one of those that has a lid on it. That
I hope so, because man, that just doesn't look like it's ever going back together.
Mm-hmm. Well, Daryl, what do you think of this guy? Is this enough? Does this justify the $300 price tag for this Masterpiece Optimus Prime?
I would say no. The price of these guys have been a real point of contention on the show. Masterpiece Transformers have been complex since day one. Even if you go back to MPO1, sure, we look at it now and we kind of laugh at its complexity, quote unquote. But at the time, it was beyond complex. It was really kind of cool as to the way they were taking these things. So Masterpiece Transformers are always stepping up the game, and as far as the transformation. So the fact that they've gone to these lengths to once again turn a cab over truck into a robot is impressive, but I don't know whether it needs to be this complex. I mean, they seem to do it every single year in one way or another, in different lines, obviously through the different scales and whatnot. So they know how to do it. This is just making it exceedingly complicated for the sake of the Masterpiece line. As far as it's being worth the $300, it's not. I mean, it's got a lot of stuff. It comes with a lot of extra bits, and that's kind of fun. The trailer obviously is a big chunk of plastic that really doesn't do a whole hell of a lot. And I guess, we all know, we've been part of the fandom for quite a while now, and we know that a Masterpiece Optimus is going to be repainted 1 billion times. I mean, obviously they have it standing here next to MP10G, the Ghostbusters one. So, and that I think is what, the 15th or 16th iteration that this thing's been done. So this MP44 is going to be repainted at least half a dozen to a dozen times, and that should make this money back for them. Now, the argument could be made that this is also something that they're going to use to make back the money that they would lose in like the other figures, something like the Beast Wars stuff that they really don't have a lot of repay potential. I don't know. It's a figure that it looks cool. It would be neat to have, but I am perfectly happy sticking with my MP10. Fair
enough. All right, Jeremy, any thoughts on jumping in with this new Masterpiece Prime?
No. It looks nice. I like it. I didn't notice until looking at some of these pictures that you can actually store all the little pieces under the trailer. There's a little black section that basically the bumper slides out and it's a drawer. I had never noticed that before these, but it's just not in the budget. It's too expensive. I will say the little people that come with it look horrible. I mean, they clearly tried to add some articulation to what we've been getting since Bumblebee, but these just look horrible. I mean, come on. I don't know. The way they
give them waist joints.
Well, waist joints, and then but the waist joints are halfway above the waist, or kind of midsection. I don't know. It just, the paint job on these has always been kind of horrible, especially for the faces, but these just make them look all just broken with how they're bent. It's just weird.
Yeah, I mean, I would sacrifice some of the articulation on those little people to just have some decent faces.
Yeah. I mean, I know they want them to be able to sit in the cab.
Yeah.
That's understandable. But come on, guys, you make toys. Figure it out. But other than that, I think that the paint on Optimus himself looks good. I agree with Yoshi that the head looks a little off, but I do appreciate the silver kind of crest in the center of his head in the helmet. I think that looks really good. I think it's just the animation look they're going for is so much different from the head we've been seeing in the toys lately. But yeah, it looks nice. Hopefully we get to see them in person at conventions and stuff. And it's just they're asking for way too much for this.
All right, well, that's my toy topic. So that'll do it for this toy section. So we'll move on to our trips to the store. And this is where we show off all the cool Transformers stuff we got this week. We do this as a video that we show on YouTube so you can see everything we got in beautiful high definition. But we also put the audio right here in the podcast so you can keep listening and listen to us describe everything in loving detail. So without further ado, trips to the store. The Transmissions Podcast will return after these messages. All right, well, let's talk about what we got this week. Jeremy, start us off.
Start off with I missed issue 1 of this, but now this is added to my pull list. I got Death's Head. This is Transformers adjacent. Kazama's doing the art, and Nick Roach did the cover here. So just want to mention that. It seems to be a good story. Being that I'm not a Marvel guy, I have very little understanding of kind of who a lot of these characters are and how they got into this situation. But I know Death's Head, and it seems good. I enjoy it. I also finally picked up my copy of Transformers 84 number 0. Right now, this is my favorite Transformers comic of the year. And then I got Transformers number 11. We reviewed this a week or so ago. Or 2 weeks ago, I think.
No, last week.
Last week? I can't remember anymore. I thought that was 84. Anyway, things are heating up. This was enjoyable. And then the last thing I got, bringing out my convention lanyard again, because I got my New York Comic Con passes. Excited to be going Friday and Saturday to New York Comic Con. Unfortunately, they denied my press badge, but I have talked with a few artists on online already, and they're up for interviews. So we'll see what we can get out of that as a non-press. Looks to be fun.
Try to get some alone time with that Unicron.
If I can get some alone time with that Unicron, it'll be.
Careful, it has sharp teeth.
Yeah, word protection. Anyway, that's all I got.
All right, I'll go next. I also picked up Transformers number 11 at the comic book store. This is the James Reyes cover, just like Jeremy, with Alita 1 and Bumblebee in the background. I did not pick up Death's Head number 2, so now I have to go back to my comic shop and say, hey, where's Death's Head number 2?
Was it in your pull list?
I think I didn't put it in my pull list, so that's on me.
See, that's where I got in trouble too. So, but I rectified that.
And I have more stuff. I still have stuff from TFCon Toronto that I haven't shown off yet. This is Mizar, better known as Kaon. This is one of the Iron Factory Legends class Decepticon Justice Division guys. Or as they say, spirits of the DEC. I don't know what DEC is, but that's the third-party name they've given it. But this is... Kaon turns into an electric chair, which is very cool. I've done the transformation. He also has a third mode that's a little blaster weapon gun, I think, for the combined mode. But yeah, he's a cool figure. Very detailed. I mean, I can maybe give a close-up. It's Kaon. The face is very much like the comic, from More Than Meets the Eye. And I'm very happy with this figure. So I've got more to show, but I'm gonna space them out. But this is Kaon, one of the DJD members.
That one turns into a gun, and not the other one who turns into a gun.
He's an electric chair and a gun. So they gave him a third mode. They gave him an extra third mode.
Okay.
But the other guy...
He's literally a zapper, Daryl.
Gotcha.
The other guy is Voss, and yes, he does turn into a gun, too. I guess I'll show him next week. I haven't messed with him yet, but yeah. And Kaon's transformation is pretty cool. He does... his chair bits are kind of all in a backpack here, as you can see. But it's a pretty... And then his legs turn into like a little treadmill, or treads for it. So, cool. He also has some alternate hands that came with it. So you can have, like, poses or whatever. I don't know. Jazz hands. I don't know. That's what I got. Yoshi, what did you get this week?
I spent way too much on 4 cassette tapes.
Nice.
I actually bought 2 sets of these, and I gave one to my kid, who is loving the shit out of them.
Did she know what a cassette tape is?
She does now.
For the record, those are the
Soundwaves minions.
Describe our audio.
Yeah.
They're fucking
podcast, Yoshi, podcast.
Fuck you, Skinny. It's let's see. One pack had Ravage and Rumble. The other one had Frenzy and Laserbeak. I don't know. I fucking dig them. I never got these as a kid. I remember. I so clearly remember, like, walking by them in Kmart and being like, "Can I play?" And they just pulled me away. My folks would just pull me away from the fucking things. I got the last expensive laugh, I guess. The other thing, I picked up this little Outback motherfucker. I forget what line this is, Daryl.
Titan's Return.
I have a love and hate with this. This thing is really fun to play with. This is up there with Cosmos, but and even this little back piece is like aluminum. It's some sort of metal. But car mode is cool, but as soon as you play with it, it comes apart because these tires. This is not a joke. Like this is my worst nightmare. These fucking pieces of plastic piece of shit. It just cheapens the whole thing. It wobbles in car mode. The tires don't spin that well on a flat surface. It's just, this is such a good toy and I don't know what else to say about it. Like I love the transformation. I love how it looks visually, but when you play with it in car mode, I'm almost disgusted to own it.
It just doesn't have that grip on the table. Like,
it doesn't. Yeah. I mean, it's almost, they're so loose and wobbly on here. Then they're all the same. I mean, it's by design that way, just I'm sure to get it to work. But goddamn, I mean, what a for a modern toy, and for me to like and hate it so equally. Like, I would have paid more to get real tires on this thing. It's really too bad.
Well, maybe you could reach out to the creative community, see if they can whip up some tires.
I wonder with the way these peg in there, if they can actually make rubber tires for this that aren't going to be wobbly and chintzy.
I think that's what Alpha Magnus did for the Ironhide that we got.
I'm done. Daryl?
Just happy that you actually have a legitimate beef with the tires.
It's the only thing. It's the only thing bad about this. Everything about it is really cool. I like how it looks. I love how it transforms. But man, 4 little pieces of plastic just destroy it for me. Daryl, sir, second introduction. Go.
Well, I do have a couple things here. Nothing that I really complain about that much. I did get the Transformers number 11. This is the different cover, though. This is the Sideswipe and Chromia and Windblade cover. It's okay. It's better. I did mention this because we were talking about it, but I did pick up another one of these the reissue Bumblebees just because I saw that the Walmart I was in got a whole bunch more in. So I was like, you know what? I can pick this up and I can give it away as a gift or something like that. So they're always gone.
Not seen them.
Really?
Yeah, I've still not seen one.
Do you want it?
Yeah.
Jeremy needs a gift.
Jeremy just got a gift. There you go.
Thank you.
My wife and my daughter and I went to Burger King today because we were in the area and needed something to eat. My daughter got a kid's meal and she got this. So I'm like,
my kid got one of those a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, and she's like, who the heck is this guy? And I'm like, she hands it to me, and I'm like, I don't know.
Clearly, you don't recognize Megatron.
Exactly. So I'm looking at it, and I'm like, and I see the story on the TFW page, and I'm like, that's Megatron? What the hell? Okay, this is Battle Rotor Megatron. So this is what they were talking about at Fan Expo, how everyone's going to get a little kind of buddy vehicle that they're going to be able to combine with to kind of give them power-ups, power of the spark kind of stuff. And this is a big gripe of mine as far as like, Happy Meal toys or, kids meal toys. This is a transformer. It has moving arms and the thing spins.
It's a propeller.
And the waist moves. This is terrible.
Yeah.
I remember Happy Meal toys actually transforming, like, can we not make some kind of very basic transformer out of this?
I also remember Happy Meal toys that were just a Bumblebee looking thing that's just a piece of plastic, about that big.
Right.
That didn't do anything.
So, yeah, there's been worse and there's been much better. I think that they could use the exact same amount of plastic and put maybe a hinge in here and you'd have some kind of rudimentary transformer. But this is literally just a basic action figure, so whatever. But it was free, so it came with their thing. But yeah, this is Megatron, apparently. Battle Rotor Megatron, for those of you who don't know. I do have one more.
How does that transform into a gun?
I do have one more thing, though. And this I had to pre-order. This was a pre-order at EB Games, so I did that. And it came in. So I went and picked it up. And this is Siege Ratchet. So I picked that up. That's he's all here in his whitey goodness. I was assuming that there was no battle damage on him, but there's battle damage on the bottom of his feet again. I was looking at him as we were preparing for the show, and it wouldn't really bother most people, but it bothers the hell out of me. If you can see his Autobot insignia there,
yeah,
it is not center. And it's bothering the hell out of me. And it's a tampograph. It's not a sticker. So probably gonna have to take it off and replace it with a sticker because it's off center, and it really bothers my OCD.
I've heard that the mold is like kind of different from the Ironhide.
It's a little different. The shoulders are different. Obviously the head's different. It comes with a different gun. I think there's one other spot is different as well. But yeah, it's virtually the same, obviously, but there are slight pieces that are different. But all in all, it looks pretty cool. I'll open it up and take a look at it, put them side by side. But yeah, they're cool. Yeah, but that's what I got this week.
We now return to the Transmissions Podcast.
All right, we're back from our trips to the store, and we will finish up the show with some feedback.
That's right. And you too can leave us some feedback by heading over to transmissionspodcast.com/feedback. There you can leave us a voicemail. You can shoot us an email. You can leave us a YouTube comment. You can tweet at us. You can Facebook at us. You can Friendster us. You can MySpace, however you choose. But this week we've got some voicemails, don't we, Jeremy?
Yeah, we have a voicemail and a special convention report.
Ooh.
Your choice. Which one do we do first?
Ooh, let's do convention report.
This is James Fisher, or Dogcades. This is just a little piece of my TF Nation experience as a first-time attendee. I went solo from Canada over to Birmingham, England, my first time visiting another continent. Shout out to Ken Mayer, who met me at the airport. Absolute legend. Thank you, sir. Also Becca, who organized a huge get-together known as Churro Squad. Becca set up a Twitter DM of about 40 people. We all take part and continue to do so as a little chat forum for all that were there, and went en masse to eat churros on the Friday before TF Nation, which was such a huge icebreaker for me and so many others, and so began my newfound friendships. When we did meet face to face, it was so awesome, and I remarked how much bigger they were when compared to their little Twitter avatars. It made the entire experience so much better having familiar faces greet you and welcome you with open arms. And so TFN began. The opening panel, there was a safety bit read by Greg Berger as Grimlock, and it was a really cute moment. Heck, you can probably see it on YouTube by now. I really wanted to catch the panel The Improvicons by Peter Spellos, the voice of Skybite from RID, and I don't speak enough to express in words that would do it justice, so I'll just say it was amazing, and we all laughed so hard and our sides hurt by the end. On to the dealer room. So I wasn't really there for the toys this year. It was more for the prints and commissions and badges, or pins, but they call them badges. And as per Jimmers, Transmissions listener, mentioned to go to Kazama quick if you wanted a commission because her window is very small. So I made sure she was my first stop, and it paid off. I got a really awesome Sharkticon commission, which I have got and posted. Anyway, yeah, so that was awesome. Some people say, why aren't you there for the toys? And I said, well, you know, I've been to enough of these, and I have a challenge of luggage space on the way back, so it was really my focus for prints and commissions. I said, besides, even if I bought toys there, they'd come back with a weird accent, and once they transform to vehicle mode, they'll just drive on the wrong side of the road anyway. So I kind of passed on that. Yeah, there were puns, laughs, hugs, tears, excitement, awe, and eats. There was a huge lounge area that was sort of like the Cheers show where, they had the bar in the middle, but you could easily fit 200 people. And again, lounge area is exactly what it was. It was just amazing, and it was comfortable, and people could go kind of group to group, and people had Transformers on the tables, and hey, what'd you pick up? And it was just awesome, and you saw the familiar faces, new faces. Thu was there, the guests, and obviously we're all people. You can just walk up, and people were taking lots of pictures and having a good laugh, and wow, just so open and amazing, and everybody was just patting each other on the back and asking if they're having a good time, and it was just a really, really good hangout, and yeah, it was fantastic. The script reading was replaced at the last second by a radio show type reading / narration by Marty Eisenberg. Showed up with a script that was basically the unreleased Season 4 for animated Transformers, and basically David Kay came on screen and said, hey, TF Nation, sorry I can't be there, but... And then the next thing you know, Phil Lamar was on screen, and Sue Blue, Tom Kenny, Corey Burton. It was just amazing. Tara Strong couldn't make it, so she was actually... The voice of Sari was Lady Rec. Transmissions listener, Lady Rec was the voice of Sari. And basically, yeah, they did a radio show type reading and narration, and it was surreal. It was amazing, and Amy did a great job. And even up to that point, she didn't even know what she was recording lines for, so it was a real surprise to everybody. It was last minute. Basically, the script had been sitting in Marty Eisenberg's drawer for 11 years and said, hey, you guys want to check this out? And yeah, they pretty much jumped at the chance. And obviously there was nowhere any recording, and it was stressed very strongly. There couldn't be any recording of any sort. So it was just so amazing to be part of that experience, and the room was just eating it up. It was lovely. And all the original characters, aside from Tara Strong, were doing it in character, and it was just wow. I think there's people trying to sign up, try to start a petition to get this thing made, because wow. There are so many people I want to mention and thank for, all making it so wonderful. But you know what? I'm going to cut it short and just say major props to all the staff and TFN crew who unselfishly just gave their time and energy and just making it just an amazing, just like TFCon, just the volunteers. They can't be thanked enough. I will also finish by giving a shout out to Toy Fu, who raised 12,300 pounds, not dollars, 12,300 pounds for Mary's Meals. I guess it costs about 70 pence per meal, so there's going to be a lot of full bellies, and wow, good job, and just amazing. And I cannot highly recommend it enough. They've really raised the bar, and what a convention experience. Just go. It's amazing. Can't wait to go back.
Dogcades. That's really cool. Why don't we all go next year, guys?
We always want to go.
Yeah.
Come on, Charles. We're talking, maybe less than Unicron money. We can do this.
No, it's about 3 or 4 Unicrons to get over there.
All right. Challenge accepted.
Per person.
Our Donatreons will come forward. I know it. You know what? Here's the deal. I won't say donator for 1 year.
It's not up to me, Yoshi.
Okay. All right. Well, if they want to band together.
Yeah. It's definitely a long-term goal.
It looked like you had a really good time, though. And yeah, it's something that I like to do as well. I know that I can't go myself until my wife goes, so either we both go and we have a good time over there, but going over to the UK has been her dream since she's been a kid, so I can't go first. So
right. It's understandable.
Yeah.
Okay, so for Daryl, we're looking at about 12 Unicrons, because I'm sure he's got to bring his daughter too. So
yeah,
that's a Canadian problem.
Yeah.
He just needs to sell his Deco collection and he'll be fine. All right, Jeremy, we got one more voicemail, I think.
Yep.
You think? We think?
I don't think I know.
Hi, guys. John 4X11 good again here. Just want to throw in my 2 cents on Hasbro removing plastic packaging from their packaging. I could actually easily see them removing the clear plastic window from some of the toys. Maybe even making those windows just a little bit smaller, but leaving the opening there and either putting a thin cardboard sleeve or just a cardboard flap on it to cover the opening during shipping, but can be easily removed or opened on store shelves for display or even at home. Especially, and I can easily see that with the larger figures, the $20 on up figures, with like the Bumblebee size, really small Matchbox car size figures. I can see them doing a Matchbox car size box to put those figures in for that, And you guys mentioned the little paper ties holding the toys in. I've dealt with that before, and it's actually a lot easier than the plastic covering, I think. especially the plastic-coated wire ties. Anyhow, just want to give my 2 cents in, and thank you guys for such a great podcast. Check you out next time.
That was John. Thank you, John, very much for that voicemail. I think this was a topic that came up when I wasn't on last week, right, Jeremy?
Yeah.
Were any ideas discussed about how Hasbro was going to address that? Do we know how Hasbro is going to address that?
They haven't said that, but they're committed to eliminating plastics by, I think it was 2022. Like plastics in their packaging, not in their toys. Gotcha. But I kind of agree with John. I think they're going to be creative in, like, you know, they could have the window with no plastic, but you know, have the toy trapped in there where you can't get it out, like, through the window without wrecking the box. So, you know, to prevent people stealing it. But, you know, it'll be interesting. I know some people in our Discord have proposed there's, like, biodegradable, you know, kind of plastic alternatives that, you know, kind of gives you that clear plastic look, but it's completely biodegradable. So I don't know. We'll see what they do.
All right. Either of you two got anything to add to that?
I mean, I have no idea, but I think John makes a good point. I think if that's probably the direction they're going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's I think we talked about it last week, but it's just more or less the more cardboard, smaller box sizes, obviously, because cardboards I think is more expensive. So we'll see. It'll be interesting. The store shelves are going to look different. We're going to see a lot less things hanging and more things stacked. Yeah, but it'll be interesting to see what they do.
Is this? I'm sorry, I just wasn't here last week. Is this going to be like an industry-wide thing? Like most people are just eliminating plastics from their packaging? Because that could be interesting for Hot Wheels.
Well, Hot Wheels is Mattel, right? So,
right.
This is just Hasbro right now. Mattel is not commented at all on anything like this.
They don't care about the environment.
No.
Jesus, Jerry.
You know, so yeah, but I don't know. It's there are certain things that need to be viewed, right? You can't. And I mean, we did speculate on it last week because there are some times that you come across that there are variants in figures, right? I commented on a figure that was a gold bug from the Thrilling 30 series. He had a variant head, so there was some kind of variant coloring of the head. You need to see it, right? So that was something that came up last week. To just be able to just blind buy these things just because the box says what's in it. Sometimes you get those, like, and I think Jeremy, you might have brought this up, is that the returns to Walmart or whatever, they just kind of, people will throw the whatever figure they want in there and return the box, right? Yeah. Well, I'm not buying a figure that looks like it's been opened until I open it again, right? I want to know what's in this box, right? Because I'm not going to buy something that says Starscream on it to get it home and have it filled with, you know, paper towel rolls, right?
Or just usually it's like a different, like a Cyberverse or
sure,
like
you know,
that,
some piece of garbage. So, you know, that can be something that's a real problem.
All right. Well, thanks again, John, and that'll be it for feedback this week, Charles.
All right, well, that will do it for this episode of Transmissions. Thanks, everyone, for listening, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Later.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for listening to this episode of Transmissions. But just because this episode is over doesn't mean the Transformers fun has to stop. Join us and other Transformers fans on our Discord chat server by visiting transmissionspodcast.com/Discord. If you would like to learn more about how you could support the Transmissions Podcast, just visit transmissionspodcast.com/support. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you again next week. Bring your mic down just a little bit, Charles. There you go. That's perfect. That's a B-rated movie right there.
Bow, ba down, ba down.
No, come on.
Fucking amateur. Bow, ba down, ba bow. Did you get a haircut, Jeremy?
No, I need one.
I mean, Daryl. I mean, Charles.
Yes, I did, actually.
There we go.
Got it in 3.
My buddy has a Pixel 3, and he says it's the best phone he's ever had.
I have a Pixel 3 too.
I wasn't talking about you. Fuck you.
Like a Whopper?
I did not have a Whopper, no, but my
Whopper?
my daughter got a kid's meal.
Chicken fingers?
I got a chicken burger.
Oh, okay. Did you get any sides?
No, just fries.
Really? Just the fucking burger?
I got
Oh,
fries. I got
is the
fries.
same.
Okay, shut up.
What about a drink? Did you get a soft drink?